its computer. All right. So guys, I am so excited because I have two incredible guests here for our Tease Talk. I have Stephanie and Marnie. They are the founders of the Art of Living Well podcast. And I would love to introduce you guys to Stephanie. So Stephanie, go ahead. I want you to introduce yourself.
Well, thank you, Tatiana, for having Marnie and I on today. We're really excited to be here. And so I am a recovering CPA and sugar and caffeine addict turned holistic health coach. I spent almost 18 years in the corporate world. I won't go into all that, but about 5-6 years ago, I left. I became a holistic health coach and an integrative health practitioner, and I empower and motivate women to live their happiest, healthiest, and most authentic lives. And my philosophy, and Marnie and my philosophy with the podcast, is that health is a journey, not a destination.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that a lot. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And Marnie, we'd love to hear from you and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. And like you said, I'm Marnie. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I became a health coach in 2015 and have a bunch of other certifications, a yoga teacher, I teach Yoga Calm, I have an integrative health practitioner certification, I've done a meditation teacher certification and a bunch of different things. And I just love working with busy women and also teens, and I help them implement sustainable, healthy habits into their lifestyle to create a happier and healthier life. And a lot of the things that we talk about are like diet, exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, sleep issues, supplements, sometimes lab testing, mindset coaching. And yeah, it's really rewarding work. And Stephanie and I then together founded the Art of Living Well podcast.
Amazing. Well, that is the perfect transition because I want to know how you guys met. As you guys can see, we are on a Zoom, and that's why we're not filming in person, but they are from Minneapolis. And I would love to know how you guys found each other or connected and what brought you into the Art of Living Well podcast.
Yeah, well, Marnie and I met was a little over 2 years ago now. 2018, and we met at Modern Well, which is a women's co-working facility where I'm actually at right now. And we both had very similar backgrounds. We even have the same number of kids. We both had completed the same health coaching certification program. And so we instantly connected and started running workshops together and some small group coaching programs together. And then it was a little over a year and a half ago, Marnie approached me and said, what do you think about starting a podcast? Really to get our message and what we were already doing individually out to more people. And we were both podcast obsessed. So we were constantly sharing our favorite episodes with each other, and kind of the rest is history a little bit. That was over a year ago.
I love that.
And it's been a super fun journey, and we've loved all of our guests, and we've worked really, really well together, and we're super excited to just continue to grow.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love your podcast. And you guys asked me at the end a question, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it right back at you guys. What does it mean to live well?
Well, I can go first on that. Living well means so many different things to me, but the biggest thing that comes to mind is balance and being true to myself. So in all areas of my life. So that's, the health and wellness realm, relationships, work life, just everything, having that balance where I feel really good inside, and I know that I'm being true to myself and living my true self.
Yeah. And do you think when we talk about balance, do you think it's achievable to get it?
Yes, I do. I think it takes a lot of work though.
Yes.
At least for a type A person like me.
Same. Stephanie, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, similar to Marnie, I think it's just being in a space of joy and in harmony, and just having that balance and having time for myself, but being able to really give myself to others, whether it's my family or my work. And I think it is a lot of balance, and just focusing on all the things though. So it's not just the food on your plate. It's really taking time every day, having a bit of self-care and knowing what you need to focus on and listening to your body and what that needs, because it's going to change over time. Whether maybe it's more workout one day or 1 week, and maybe you have to focus more on the food, or it's just breathing and recognizing I need to spend more time meditating and doing yoga because I'm all hyped up right now and anxious. So
yeah. Again, balance is everything. And I love that both of you guys said that. So I'm going to go ahead and transition into our topic for the Tease Talk is 10 tips to thrive and survive during the holidays. I absolutely love the wording together. And I know it is November. We have 2 more months left of 2020. Gosh, this year has been such a mess, but I do want everyone to end this year on the right foot, really strong. And how can we thrive and survive? Holidays are around the corner. We have Thanksgiving coming up. We have your holidays. We have Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you guys may be celebrating. And then we have New Year's. So I know this is like a trend with everyone. I'm sure both of you guys can agree, but all the rules go out the window. They're like, you know what? I'll start 2021. You know what? I'll drink this. I'll eat all the cake in the world. You know what? The workouts don't really matter. It's cold. I don't feel like working out. So I would love for you guys to dive into the 10 tips how to thrive and survive through the holidays.
And one thing I think Stephanie and I were both talking about that we would love to just mention before we talk about this is this holiday season is probably going to look differently than a normal holiday season just because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But I still think there probably will be gatherings that take place. They may not be the large holiday parties or large family gatherings, but on a smaller scale, there probably still will be some gatherings. Maybe they'll be outdoors. So a lot of the things that we're going to suggest, I mean, all of them still are going to be totally relatable.
Great.
Absolutely. So kicking off, one thing that Marnie and I are really into and something we do most days is starting our day with a protein and nutrient-rich smoothie. And we think it's really important the day of you have a party, or you're going to be indulging maybe a little more in the evening. And we love it because it's liquid, so it's easy for your body to digest first thing in the morning. And you can pack so many vitamins and minerals into a smoothie. You get your greens in there. You can get lots of fiber. We like keeping it, a little bit lower on the sugar count, and it just helps you maintain a blood sugar so that you don't have that spike. And then you don't have that crash, and it can keep you full. You make sure you have like a healthy fat in your smoothie, and it really can help resist maybe making some too many, poor choices potentially later on in the evening. So.
And we're happy to link up a smoothie recipe for your listeners if that's something that interests you.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm sure everyone is always searching for that.
Yeah, and a lot of times, people hear the word smoothie, and that means different things to different people. And so when Stephanie and I are talking about having a smoothie, we're not talking about dumping, tons of sugar types of products into the smoothie, but keeping it on the healthier side.
Awesome. Yeah. Can you guys give us an example of like what you guys would use?
Yeah, I mean, so I often use unsweetened almond milk. And I like to throw greens in my smoothie. So I'll throw some spinach in my smoothie. I often use frozen blueberries as the fruit. If I'm weightlifting, I'll throw in a half a banana, but I don't do that every day. And then I use protein powder, a really clean protein powder. There's a brand that Stephanie and I both love. And then I'll do some cinnamon, and the cinnamon really gives it a great flavor. I love cinnamon. So that's kind of my go-to.
Yeah, that's very similar to mine too. I always add a healthy fat to my smoothie. So I usually put in like a nut butter or a seed butter. A lot of times I'll throw flaxseed in, which is really good, a really good fat. You can put avocado in your smoothie as well. Mm-hmm. Throw a quarter of an avocado in. So yeah.
Great. Awesome. I love it. And it's simple. I think that a lot of people think that overcomplicating it is just going to drive them crazy. But both Steph and Marnie just said something just so simple, So I love that.
Yeah. So moving on, the next tip that we think is so important is drinking plenty of water throughout the day. Now, this is so simple, right? Yep, we're all showing our water
cheers.
But it's so important. People are walking around dehydrated, constantly. And it's like the one thing people forget about. So, when you're at a party and you're possibly drinking alcohol, you want to make sure that you're drinking enough water to go along with that alcohol. And that'll help you stay hydrated and control, the alcohol amount that you're taking in.
The other thing too is making sure that when you wake up in the morning, that the first thing you drink is water. We're not here to talk about like caffeine or not, not drinking coffee or anything like that. Have your cup of coffee, have your tea, whatever it is you want. But drink water first, because your body has been sleeping for hopefully 7+ hours a night and it's just dehydrated. And so a lot of times too, when you find yourself getting hungry really early in the morning, it's really because you're dehydrated. It's your body's way of trying to communicate with you. So have a big glass of water. And I always have warm water with lemon, which warm water is really good too. You don't want to drink a lot of like cold water first thing, because again, it just helps with digestion. And then the vitamin C and the lemon is really helpful with the citrus.
And then the other thing, people often ask, well, how much water should a person drink? So I like to tell people, take however much you weigh and divide that in half. And that's the minimum amount of ounces you should drink per day. And if you're sweating a lot or working out, intensely, you obviously need to increase the amount of water you're drinking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Water is a huge tip. And I think people forget about it. It's so easy to forget.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I think sometimes a lot of us are working from home more now. And I think if you were in an office and you were always like by the water cooler, you may remember to fill up more. But sometimes when you're just at home, even myself sometimes will forget, like, oh my gosh, I haven't had a lot of water lately.
But I do think having like a fun, cute water bottle, motivates me to drink water at least.
Yeah.
Like if I have a water bottle that I love, I want to drink from it.
Yeah. Anything
Totally.
to motivate you to drink more water. Yeah, of course.
Yep.
Great.
And then the next tip is, something that all of your, all the people that are listening to this hopefully are already doing, but getting your heart rate up with a really good workout several times a week. And I know they can do all of your amazing workouts, but it helps you feel energized throughout the day. You also may be less inclined to overindulge in the evening. You had a really good smoothie, you had a great lunch, you worked out, you're like, I'm feeling good, I'm going to enjoy myself and I'm going to have some drinks and food, and we'll get to all that because that's important, right? But just not going overboard. And I think too, the morning after a big night out, whether you're tired, whether you had a little bit too much to drink potentially, definitely trying to do something. I like a light brisk walk in the morning and getting outside.
Yeah.
Even in the winter, just bundle up. We all live in pretty cold climate, so winter will be here soon enough.
Yeah.
And so moving your body in some way is really important.
Yes. Yeah. Move your body.
Yes.
And then moving along, eating plenty of fruits and vegetables, proteins, healthy fats throughout the day. I know this seems basic, but it's super important, especially, if you are going to indulge more in the evening. Make sure you have a really clean day, and make sure you're eating foods that are balancing each other out with the fruits and the vegetables and the proteins and the healthy fats. Healthy fats are like, nuts and seeds and avocado and olive oil.
Well, in certain meats and fish, right? Whatever meat you choose to eat, hopefully it's a high quality meat. So grass-fed and pasture-raised and organic if possible, and incorporating, so every meal that you eat has all of those components that Marnie mentioned. So if you just sit down and eat, a sandwich, for instance, and nothing wrong with a sandwich necessarily, but there's probably not going to be a ton of vegetables in there. And really like creating a plate that's 2/3, plant-based or lots of vegetables, especially non-starchy vegetables. And leafy greens. I know people are like, oh, kale and spinach and everything, but honestly, like they will fill you up. They really, really will. And leafy greens are probably one of the, least consumed foods, but have so many micro and nutrients and vitamins and minerals. So trying to sneak them in, which is why it's great to do it in a smoothie. So if you don't love greens, putting it in a smoothie and just starting out small is a great way to go.
And you stay
like
full.
Yeah.
They're filling. So between the liquid and the greens, you're good for a few hours.
Yeah. And I like that you said, you have to be mindful. If you're thinking you're going out at night, you do want to eat clean throughout the day, kind of just having, again, that balance of it. So being mindful, like think about it, okay, I'm going to go out to eat. And I really, really like the truffle fries on this menu. Yes. There's non-negotiable, like I'm going to have it. Great. Totally. Okay, let's eat well throughout the day and go ahead, eat the fries later on.
Right.
And enjoy them.
Yeah.
Yes. Enjoy. And that's and we'll talk about that. But part of this is also enjoying yourself and not beating yourself up. So we'll move on here, I guess, a little bit. So, before heading out to a party or a dinner, especially a party where you don't know how much food there's going to be, is it just going to be a bunch of snacks? It's a little different when you're going out to a restaurant where you can plan, I'm going to eat a meal. But sometimes I think what people do, and myself included, for many, many, many years is like, well, I'm not going to eat a lot during the day because I know I'm going to a party and I'm going to just eat whatever I want all night, and that's probably honestly one of the worst things you can do. So eat your normal breakfast and lunch. And I will sometimes even eat a light dinner or maybe a salad or maybe another smoothie before I leave an hour or two. So eat something so that when you go to the party, you're not starving. Because what happens is you walk in the door, you haven't eaten in several hours, you didn't eat balanced meals throughout the day, and all bets are off as far as what's going to happen. Yeah. And so just eat a little bit of something. I also like to say, have a mental pep talk with yourself. Like the fries, the truffle fries are non-negotiable. So great, I'm going to enjoy them. And be happy with those decisions, because you don't want to wake up the next day and beat yourself up. How many people have woken up the next day, either they don't feel well or they feel bad that they made food choices or drink choices. And then they're like, oh, I can't eat, or I'm just going to forget it. I'll just wait till 2021 because I'm already on this downward spiral and I'm just going to eat for the next 30 days, whatever I want. Enjoy the fun, enjoy the drinking, the food, whatever it is you like, and wake up the next day and just reset and be like, yep, I had a great night. And now I'm going to start with my normal routine the next day and have that smoothie again the next day.
Yeah. Great. I really enjoy that. And it's so relatable too, because I think a lot of people do beat themselves up, and it's so easy to beat yourself up about it, but just accepting it like, hey, I had a great time and today is a new day. You reset.
And especially if you plan that you're going to indulge, then it's like, you're going to indulge. So just enjoy indulging and then start fresh the next day.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So moving along, this tip is so simple and people forget this all the time. Chew your food. I know it sounds really basic, but really most of us do inhale our food rather than chewing our food. Sometimes people don't even sit down. They stand up and they just inhale their food and then they're off to the next thing. And digestion really does begin in your mouth when you're chewing your food. It activates the saliva. And when we eat too quickly, our body has to work harder to digest the food. So try to chew your food, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 times before swallowing. And that sounds like a lot. If you actually sit and count, you're like, oh,
I'm going to do that today.
It's hard. But it really does let your stomach kind of catch up to your brain, because you want to give your body the chance to actually feel full. And the slower you eat and the more that you chew your food, it's just going to help the whole process.
And I've done this with my kids before too. So you can do it with other friends, family members. If you're sitting there eating and you know that you're a fast eater or they are, give them the challenge, for every bite of food, you got to chew it 20 times.
and the other thing you can do while you're doing this is really be mindful about enjoying your food. I mean, what's the race? Like, you might as well enjoy the food that you're eating, appreciate the food, just slow down.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah. I like that tip. I've never heard of that tip. So I know a lot of people do speed eat, but I like that you said chew slower and enjoy it.
And especially if you have digestive issues, it could be because your body you have unchewed food, like whole particles that are trying to go down your esophagus into your stomach. So if people that have heartburn or, other digestive issues should really focus on this as well.
Amazing. Awesome.
So the next one is, and we've kind of talked about this a little bit, just being mindful of how much you're eating at social gatherings. So take a small plate of food. If there's vegetables there, I think vegetables and hummus is such a great one. I never seem to get sick of it. And the hummus just adds some protein and fat to combine with the fiber in the vegetables, but taking some things that are on the lighter side, take a little bit of what you want, those favorite holiday cookies or that dip that you only have once a year. Absolutely enjoy it. But just again, like not skipping meals during the day so that you don't go there starving. And just focusing on, I guess, just trying to bring something too. The other thing I was going to say is if you're going to a gathering where everyone's bringing food, bring something that you really want to enjoy that's substantial, like a big hearty salad, that maybe has some grains or some protein and a bunch of ingredients in it. And then, okay, at least there's one thing that I know that I want to eat that's going to make me feel really good. And then you have a little bit of the other stuff too.
And I try and do that at
all the
almost
time.
Every gathering I go to. I'm like, oh, I'll bring this. And
yep.
Because it's a really easy way to kind of sneak in to make sure that you're covered.
Yeah, you're all set.
Yes. And now I think we're like known as like the people that bring the salad. It's like, oh, Stephanie, I know you're going to bring like one of your really good, yummy salads. Great. I'm happy to do that. Yeah.
I'm terrible at dessert making. And when people tell me to bring dessert, I'm like, oh, you don't want me to bring the dessert. I have someone else bring the dessert and I'll bring, the salad or whatever.
Yeah.
So what Stephanie was saying kind of goes right into our next tip, which is when you're going to parties and you are tempted to overindulge, maybe set your intention for the evening on making it about talking with your friends, engaging in interesting conversations, instead of making the evening about the food and the drink. So I think a lot of us are like, oh, they're going to have, this at the party and that at the party. But really, the point of the gathering is to be with the people, right? So focus on who you're going to be with, what you want to talk about, and really be mindful of that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah. And the next tip is something I think I touched on a little earlier is sleep, right? So sleep deprivation can result in a whole host of issues for our body. Yeah. One, a weakened immune system. And I think everyone right now, more than ever, during this pandemic, we should be focused on our immune system. And sleep is the only time our body has to really rest and repair itself and recover. And so it also impacts our ability to make really good choices. When we're tired, because we're sleep deprived, we tend to make poorer choices. Or we're like just going for more caffeine and, that sort of thing. So, and it can impact your ability to food can impact your ability to get a good night's sleep. So they're all kind of interrelated and go hand in hand. Yeah. And alcohol. Yes, for sure. So, how much sleep do people need? Everyone's body is unique. I think the average adult should probably be getting between 7 and 9 hours, but that really is dependent on your own body and the needs. So like try sleeping when you can, maybe on the weekends without setting an alarm, or when you're on vacation, and figure out how much sleep does my body need. So that's just a good tip for all year round, but especially during this time of year when people tend to be running. And again, it may look a little differently this year.
But even staying out later, drinking more, like it's all kind of a cycle, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And our last tip, which is probably my favorite tip, is allow yourself to enjoy yourself at these gatherings with your family and friends. Be kind to yourself. If you do overindulge, that's okay. Like Stephanie mentioned earlier, the next day is a new day. Forget about yesterday, wake up and start fresh and start with your smoothie and your healthy habits. And I think it's super important not to beat yourself up. That's why I really like the idea of being mindful before you go to the party. So you can plan in your head kind of like, what is your plan for the night? Well, maybe you want to drink a little more than you do on a usual day, or maybe you want to eat all these wonderful desserts that your family makes, or whatever it is. But maybe if you plan it out, that beating yourself up or feeling badly inside, you can just skip that whole process.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that, because yes, enjoy yourself and don't beat yourself up about it.
No. And especially right now, just with everything going on in the world, like we all need some really good, happy moments and connecting, because I think that's what a lot of us are missing most right now, is that connection. Yeah. And so kind of what Marnie said, is really focusing on those human connections and interactions at the parties, and less about it being only about the food and the drinking.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Thank you, ladies, so much. Those 10 tips are awesome. I hope everyone is like noting them down and having like put it on your refrigerator, walk by and be like, okay, I can thrive during the holidays. So I love to just transition quickly and talk about, I know you guys have a 30-day program. It's Thrive During the Holidays. And I know we just got a little teaser of it. Can you guys talk about it?
Yeah. Yes. So the program starts, it's actually kind of, it goes through Thanksgiving. So it starts November 16th and it goes all the way to December 13th. So the last 2 weeks in December, you're well armed for those last 2 weeks. And Stephanie, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about the program.
So it's going to be a community of like-minded people. I think we all can use community right now, and everyone will receive weekly recipes. They'll receive a weekly guided meditation, and it's not going to be like a long meditation. It's going to be a 5 to 10 minute meditation. So I know that word can sometimes scare people. And then there'll be one yoga class, like an online yoga class that you'll have at your disposal. There'll be tips and strategies each week. There'll be a group chat. So you have access to Marnie and myself throughout the entire 30 days. And then there's, at the end, you can take advantage of a 15-minute complimentary consultation with one of us.
And we're also having those 30-minute live sessions weekly.
Yes.
And we'll have that private support group, which is like a chat. So it's really nice, because if one person asks a question, everybody sees the question and
I was just thinking that.
Our answer. So it's really motivating and helpful.
I love that. I love that group chat. So yes, everyone listening over, and you guys are kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of worried about the holidays. I need some guidance. I need some support. I need a community. Guys, reach out to them. I'm putting the link down for all the information for you guys to check out yourself. And I want to say thank you so much, Stephanie and Marnie, for coming on for the Tease Talk. And I can't wait for all of us to survive and thrive throughout the holidays.
Well, thank you for having us on, Tatiana.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.